witnesses. Alhamdulillah, Bismillah, wassalatu wassalam ala Rasulillah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. By name of Hamza Mugiru, Secretary for Dawah in Bham Muslim District. And I'm the one who coordinated this program towards the visitation of our eminence, Maulana Ibrahim Bham, the Secretary General, Jama'at Ulama, South Africa, is entrance. Your Eminence, I request you to just give a few words. Last year, I was operated in India. I went to India for operation. I was operated by my brother and my liver. When I went back for my review, I happened to visit one of the biggest respected people. He invited me to his home. When I went there, he asked me, because I found a lot in his home, and he asked me, what do you want me to do for you? I told him that I request you to come to Africa and do some projects that they can help the Muslims, that can uplift Islam and Muslims of Uganda. There and then, he told me that his program was too big. He couldn't be able to come this time. He told me that I'm going to give you a contact, which I request you don't misuse it. He gave me a contact of His Eminence, Maulana Mufti Ibrahim Bham of South Africa. And when I came back here, I talked to my district Qadi, my immediate boss. I introduced him and I started communicating directly to Maulana Bham. Fortunately, good enough, he replied and told me that he has his colleague whom they studied together. That is Maulana Badruddin Buyungo in council, inshallah. Secondly, on 17th, we shall have a corporate and a Muslim professionals conference at Makerere University. We made it like that because we found it that Muslim elites a little bit far from Islam. So we called them to come and verge and talk to us to see how we can uplift our religion. On 18th, Your Eminence, we shall have a Kampala Muslim mobilization and sensitization program. It will be held at Natete Muslim High School. And in it, we have Your Eminence, under the guidance of the Secretary for Sharia, we requested him, as Kampala, as Rubaga, we want to start our Sharia court, Qadi court from there. We have been hearing so many conflicts, Your Eminence, from there. And we can sit as Muslims and sort out all those. So we will, inshallah, have one of the activities. And another activity will be Quran competition, Your Eminence. Under your guidance, sir, I beg to remain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you very much.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillahi wahdah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'dah. Amma ba'du, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Innama yakhsha Allah min ibadihi al-ulama. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم العلماء ورثة الأنبياء أو كما قال. We begin by praising Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for all His favors upon us. Says Allah in the Quran, وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا تُحْصُوهَا. If you try and enumerate the favors of Allah, you would not be able to do so. But we do so because we are obliged to do so. And we also send salutations upon our greatest benefactor, our beloved Prophet Muhammad Mustafa sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And respected Your Eminence, the Mufti and all your team, and all protocols observed with regard to each and everyone's position. I don't have the ability to speak to each and everyone, but all protocols observed. It has given me great pleasure to be here today with the management committee. I've always heard so much about Uganda, and I must say I've traveled extensively to many parts of the world, whether it be North Africa, Central America, North America, Malaysia, Singapore, Sri Lanka many a times. I have never seen such a formal recognition of the Muslim community in a country the way I've seen in Uganda. And this has given me great pleasure to see that the office of the Mufti is so well recognized and so well established. So in many countries you have organizations and you have Muftis, but it's not something that is given state recognition. I see here in Uganda, alhamdulillah, there is a state recognition. Alhamdulillah, we also, I must say that irrespective of the positions and how you are, the reality of the situation is the challenges that you and I are facing are very similar because of the global village that we are living in. And I think it's important for us to interact, to be able to understand the challenges. One of the challenges that from South Africa and Uganda we are very similar is we live as minorities in a country. Now, if you look at history, you will find that Muslims being a minority was up till 1492. Muslims never used to stay as minorities. In fact, wherever Muslims were in minorities, they were helped by Muslims in majority countries to make hijrah from countries in which they were minorities. Ibn Jubair rahmatullah alayhi has written a kitab and a book on his Hajj journey, and when he came to the Syrian border, he related that much of the zakat of the Muslims who were the other side, and this side they were non-Muslims, and there was a barrier. Much of the zakat of the Muslims in Syria were used to take Muslims out of countries or where they were in minorities, to bring them back into places where Muslims are in majority. So up till 1492, Muslims didn't stay in minorities. Today, much of a great percentage of Muslims are in minority situations, whether it be in the UK, South Africa, America, Canada, many places. How do we deal with that challenge? Right? And then, of course, we also know that presently Muslims who are in a majority, whether it be Pakistan, UAE, Egypt, have their own challenges. The perception with regard to the rulers of those countries across the Muslim Ummah is not always positive. And I'm just sort of not making mention, I don't want to go into a political dimension, but I think these are just some of the challenges that we are in. We have almost 2 billion Muslims, yet we cannot help 2 million Muslims. We have the greatest amount of resources, but that resources cannot help 2 million Muslims. We have Muslim countries who have nuclear powers, but they cannot come to the assistance of 60,000 people who have been mercilessly killed. We have Muslim countries on the River Nile. And yet, 2 million Muslims are dying of thirst. We have Muslim countries, we have over 80% of the resources of oil. Yet 2 million Muslims do not have oil to burn, to regulate and run their hospitals. And this is a collective responsibility. How do we deal with these challenges? So I'm just giving you part of the challenges. In our countries, like in South Africa, Uganda, how do we live as minorities? So we don't have legislative powers. We can't legislate, but yet we have to keep our identity. Alhamdulillah, I think we have been able to do so with some success, whether it be Uganda, whether it be South Africa. The Jamaat Ulama, to whom I belong to, in 2023 celebrated its centenary. It was established in 1923. An organization in a non-Muslim country with 100-year establishment. Alhamdulillah, it has been Allah Ta'ala's grace. But these are just, but yet we also have our challenges. We also have our challenges with our youth, who are susceptible to social media influences, social media and TikTok propaganda, which many a times make them doubt essentials of our deen. So I can go on making mention with regard to the challenges, and that is why it's so important as ulama bodies, as people who are in similar situations, we cooperate. As Allah in the Quran says, وَالْمُؤْمِنُونَ وَالْمُؤْمِنَاتِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. The believing males and females are protectors and helpers of one another. And we need to help one another. يَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَيَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ وَيُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةَ وَيُطِيعُونَ اللَّهَ وَرَسُولَهُ أُولَٰئِكَ سَيَرْحَمُهُمُ اللَّهُ. That means by helping one another, we will find it easy to be able to be adherent to the commands of Allah Ta'ala. Without protection, without helping, everyone will find it difficult. So these are some of the challenges, and I hope inshallah tomorrow we will be able to deal with it more effectively, or maybe speak to it and maybe have an interaction. I just had this little bit chance to say these few words. I am very impressed by your structure. May Allah Ta'ala make it grow from strength to strength and make it a means of further progress. We are 2 or 3% in South Africa. I believe you people are much more, almost 20%.
Yeah,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant you that strength of being able to be worthy of that 20%. And Allah Ta'ala give you the establishment of the Muslims in this land, inshallah al-Aziz. And we make dua for one another, and our protection and our assistance will always be there, inshallah al-Aziz.
Mosque are united under one banner. So there's unity in strength. That's a very important factor. Training of Imams, South Africa has quite a bit of Darul Ulooms that have programs from the training just for Imams. So they could be used as a training ground to start from here to go there to study at that. When Sheikh Hamza introduced his story about how Maulana Bham is here, it is not the treatment that made it happen. It was the calling by Allah to say that this will be the means of him coming here today. So this is the system of Allah Ta'ala. Maulana, in one of his lectures, mentioned it is first a kafaya to at least have in our Muslim community a doctor, a scientist, a pilot, an engineer. Then we can see the rise of the Muslim people. To have hufazas, qaris, it's so beautiful to have the nurani of this person. But now we implement him with something that he can go into the world and says, we have arrived as Muslims. Inshallah, that day will come. May Allah reward us. And we are actually very grateful that Allah Ta'ala gives us the opportunity to do this work. It's not that we do this work. I visited Uganda about 25 years in Jamaat. and I fell in love with this country. My love will always stay with this country. Jazakallah.
Jazakumullah. Also, a special thanks to the people who have came to fetch us at the airport. Sheikh Hamza has been a pillar of strength, although it's our first day in terms of doing the collaboration and working out the program. Jazakumullah khairan. Inshallah, we'll meet again.
Inshallah. Thank you very much. For the benefit of the media, tufunye abagenyi abaze okukyukyalirako okuva South Africa nga bakuliddwa Maulana Mufti Ibrahim Bham ne ttiimu ezebwerekerako, ate nga wano regional assistant waffe ne badisikaali ba Kampala ne regional assistant bazze ne ttiimu zaabwe zawano abali mu ggwanga muno okubeera ntwaniriza abagenyi abo, ekibaleese kujja kulaba ngeri gye tusobola okulaganira awamu mu nsonga z'okuweereza obusiraamu n'eggwanga lyaffe, ng'ekyo bakikoze olw'okumanya ekitabo ky'obusiraamu bwe kiri, nga buli kye bakola kyetaagisa naffe ne tukimanyako oba ne tukibawamuko amagezi, ng'ekigendererwa kyakubeera ntutambulira wamu. Tusuubira enkolagana ennungi mu bintu ebiwerako, okukwatagana n'okuyiga n'okubeera nti eddiini yaffe ennyonnyoka bulungi, n'okubeera nti tugisomesa awo wekyetaagisa, n'okugizimba mu buli ngeri yonna, n'okukolaganira wamu ng'eggwanga erya South Africa n'erya Uganda. Tubaniriza wano olwaleero nga bagambye bajja kubeera wano ennaku eziwerako. Tubaagaliza emirembe nga Supreme Council, tubasuubiza enkolagana ennungi insha Allah egy'okubeera nga eyamba omulimu gwaffe guno. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.